Skills on the platform. What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another one. Today's lesson is going to be on narcissism, psychopathy, and sociopaths. Also, I've actually took some extensive notes on this, but I'm trying to make this quick as possible, so I'm not going to be long. Now, I just want to start out with an actual scriptures out of the King James version of the Bible that actually talks about these type of people. So so that way we can have a better understanding about what we're actually dealing with when it comes down to dealing with these kind of people on our day-to-day lives. I mean, these people could be family members. These people could be friends, neighbors, lovers, associates. So these people are everywhere. So this is something that you need to be aware of when you're associating with people on a regular basis, because these kind of people are just not mentally wired like regular people per se. Um, they go off of a certain. They are probably affected maybe by childhood issues with their parents, social issues in school, or some cases, some people are just not mentally correct in a lot of cases. So this is something that you need to be aware of. Now, I'm going to start off with the scripture is in Ephesians 6 and 12, King James Version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? So that's in Ephesians 6:12. So it talks about these kind of people that we're dealing with. Also, in Timothy, Second Timothy, chapters, Second Timothy 3-7. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasure, more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power there is, denying the power thereof. This sort they are which creep into houses and lay captive silly women laden with sins, led away with drivers, lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. That's Timothy, 2 Timothy 3-7. Now, the definition of a narcissist, according to the Etymology dictionary, etymology is the original meaning of words. Throughout time, words have been changed to have different meanings for manipulation purposes. So I went to the original meaning for the term narcissist, and this is what I come up with. Person affected with narcissism by 1919. Also, see narcissism. Narcissism, 1905, from the German Narcissismus, coined 1899. Psychiatrist by a German psychiatrist named Paul Nacke. Nacke is Nacke. Paul Nacke. Born 1851, passed 1913. On a comparison suggested in 1889 by Havelock Ellis from Greek narcosos, narcosis, named of a beautiful youth in mythology. Actually, the name is actually the Greek name of the beautiful youth in mythology, in Greek mythology. His name is Narcosos. That's Narkissos. So you can look that up on your own term. Um, who fell in love with his own reflection in a spring and turned into the flower Narcissus. So he was actually looking into a spring. I guess he saw his reflection in water, and fell in love with his own image. Narcissus himself, as a figure of self-love, is attested by 1767. Coleridge used the word in a letter from 1822. So you guys can look that up on your own time. Look up the Greek Narcissus. That's a It's Narkissos. But already Krishna, enamored of himself, had resolved to experience lust for his own self. He manifested his own nature in the cowherd girls and enjoyed them. So I'm still reading the definition under narcissism. Now, the other term that I found under narcissism, which relates, is megalonamic. Megalonamic. That's spelled Megalomaniac. From 1882, it's a noun. One suffering from megalomania. So a megalomaniac is one suffering from megalomania, which derives from 1883. It's an adjective. Afflicted with megalomania. Megalomania is spelled Megalomania. You can also find this in the Etymology dictionary online, the Etymon. As I mentioned, the original meaning to words. The megalomaniac differs from the narcissist by the fact he wishes to be powerful rather than charming. Wish to be powerful rather than charming. And seek to be feared rather than loved. To this type belong many lunatics and most of the great men of history. I know now you can actually request a narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath test upon people who may display some of these behaviors. And that's going to determine if this person is even in a sound mind to be able to make decisions for themselves and for others for that matter. A lot of these people have children And a lot of children grow up suffering behind these parents who are narcissists. And in this case, a megalomaniac narcissism. So a lot of children growing up are suffering from this in quiet spaces because a lot of these people, they act kind when they're, in the face of the public, when they're around people. You wouldn't even think that these people are like this. But behind closed doors, when they're in their homes, they treat their spouses like crap. They belittle their children, and these children grow up to what we see today. A lot of these adults are just deprived. They depraved. They they're just desperate. So just to move on a little bit further here, a man by the name of Bertrand Russell came out with a book called The Conquest of Happiness. I haven't got the book yet, but it's actually on the way now. I already placed the order because I would like to know more about his standpoint on narcissism back in the early 1900s. Also, um, there's going to be a part two on this, definitely. I'm going to be doing a part two follow up on this, so look out for that in the near future. But I want to get a hold of this book first before I come up with that part two. But definitely look out for the part two. Also, definition of narcissistic: marked by excessive self love. 1912, see narcissistic. Sometimes erroneously as narcissistic, related to narcissistically. Bertrand Russell, spelled Bertrand, Russell, Russell. His book, The Conquest of Happiness. Summary of the book. In The Conquest of Happiness, first published by Live Right in 1930, philosopher Bertrand Russell attempted to diagnose the myriad causes of unhappiness in modern life and chart a path of the seemingly inescapable malaise, so prevalent even in safe and prosperous Western societies. That's a new term for me as well. I've never heard of that term until now after looking it up in the Etymology Dictionary. That Etymology Dictionary, just so side note, that Etymology Dictionary is very useful. You'll be able to get a full meaning of terms that have been changed from today, from back then, so that way you can see what's the difference is. Now, the word malaise, spelled Malise, a good general feeling, a general feeling of discomfort, illness, or uneasiness, whose exact cause is difficult to identify. Similar words for malaise is unhappiness, restlessness, uneasiness, unease, melancholy, okay, depression, anxiety, anguish. People are feeling these kind of feelings every day, but they're not recognizing the cause of it. It's because this is something that's being inflicted onto them by other people, and they're thinking it's them. They people are These narcissists are making them think that it's actually them when it's the other person who's causing this by their behavior. And I suggest if you're around these kind of people, run, get away from them. What is happiness for Bertrand Russell? So he defines what he defines as happiness. The secret of happiness is this: let your interests be as wide as possible, and let your reaction to the things and persons that interest you be as far as possible friendly rather than hostile. Friendly rather than hostile. So that's one way to identify a narcissist. A narcissist goes in and out of friendliness to hostility. There should be no reason why someone can't be friendly all the time. There's no reason why. There's a mental disconnect for someone that just can't consistently be friendly. If they're switching back from friendliness to hostility, that's a problem. That's a red flag right there. That's definitely a red flag you need to look out for. What are the causes of unhappiness described by Bertrand Russell? Bertrand Russell also discusses some factors from our daily life which become the cause of unhappiness. If not sensed and controlled properly, you got to sense these things, people. Like I said, going back and forth from friendliness to hostility, that's something to be questionable right there. I mean, that person's inconsistent. We don't have time for that inconsistency. Some people can play a role very well for a long time. You think they're for you, but they're not. Be careful, people. These people are dangerous. Sometimes we tend to feel sorry for people who've been going through certain things, but then you got to really, kind of figure out, why are they going through these things? Why have they suffered these things? It's possible because of their own behavior. Bertrand Russell also discusses some factors from our daily life which become the cause of unhappiness. If not sensed and controlled properly, they are referred as Byronic attitude, competition, fatigue, envy, persecution mania, oh, wow, persecution mania, and fear of public opinion. Again, Russell holds that competition is another reason of unhappiness. Now, when it comes down to competition, there's, you can kind of break it up in, healthy competition, unhealthy competition. Healthy competition is when you're playing a sport. For instance, basketball, football, soccer, the Olympics. People compete for first, second, and third place, etc., and prizes and rewards and recognition, bragging rights, if you will. So these are healthy competitions because it kind of says who's the best in these particular sports and these events. That's healthy competition because there's a prize typically, there's some type of reward and recognition that one would be able to have. But when it comes down to the day and day life, competition is not necessary. Why we would be trying to compete with one another? Because everyone is good and bad at certain things. Everybody has a strength, everyone has a weakness. So we tend to focus more on our strengths than we do our weaknesses. For instance, if you're working at a particular job, and I know that back in the days in my early sales career when I worked at particular jobs, we had friendly competitions. You know, it was something where after you got a sale, you jump up on that board and you start marking off. All right, I got another one. And then the top guy pops up right behind you. I got one too. So it's like it's friendly competition. We're not necessarily at each other. It's just it motivates us to do better. It motivates us to do more to the point where we're earning better and we're just able to have that healthy sense of competition. But it's nothing to the point where you're trying to harm somebody because they did better to you. It's like always, all right, I got to do better next time. That's what it was originally designed for, is that I got to do better, but not beat someone down to the point where you're trying to step on them to do better. No, that's unhealthy. That's very unhealthy. I remember one time, real quick, that when I started out in sales, back in 2004. I was actually getting ready to be I was gonna get fired. Simple as that. But as I was focused though, and as I was focusing on doing what I'm supposed to do, it just clicked for me one day, and I started to crush it. I beat out the guy who trained me in the business, and I beat him out for several weeks, even months. My numbers were over his because it just clicked for me, and I was focused. But I'm kind of off track here. But so but like I said, healthy competition. Russell says that competition is another reason for unhappiness. Some people just don't have that. The ones that who always wasn't in the top running, they didn't look at themselves as less than us who were actually doing it. Just that we were probably a little bit more competitive than the others when it comes down to getting them sales. But it doesn't make that person better. I wouldn't consider myself better than anyone else in there. I was just more focused. It was a strength of mine. Some people just not their strength. Some people are average at it. Some people are good at it. Some people are just better. But that's healthy competition. Now, some people just take it too far. I'm back on it now. Now, they're doing consistent sell work. Actually, there's a little note I put in there. So what it is, actually, I misspelled that. That's why I'm sitting here looking at this crazy. All right, so what a narcissist is actually doing is it's consistent spell work on you, um, talking ill on your name to others. So if we understand the word spelling, it's actually has multiple meanings. Now, the word spelling, you can think about it as I'm spelling a word out, or you could talk about I'll put a spell on you. So, in other words, when someone says they put a spell on you, it's certain words that they're actually saying about you, like, talking down on other people, saying, speaking lies on someone's name. So, that would be considered a form of spelling, putting a spell on someone. So, when people actually say and make up lies about others, they're actually putting a spell out there. And if your frequency is lower, if you have a low frequency, that can affect you. It can affect you on the spiritually, and it can affect you physically if you allow it. So, these kind of talks today is about elevating people's mind so that way they can do better and live better. And also put people on notice of the kind of people that are out there that are preying on good people. Now, there are 7 types of narcissist you need to know about, according to therapists. Also, the overt type of narcissist, known as the grandiose narcissism. This is what we typically think of when we talk about narcissists. These people are usually extroverted, so they're outgoing, grandiose, aggressive, and attention seeking. They can be very charming and typically expect special treatment. They can be predatory. Their ability to see vulnerability in others. So they can see the vulnerability in others and use it against them. They are highly competitive and are willing to humiliate others in order to gain a perceived win. That's the overt type of narcissist. In order to gain a perceived win. So this kind of individual is predatory. They seek attention, attention seekers. They're aggressive. They seek special treatment. These are the key points. They are highly competitive. Now, I said earlier in this video talking about being competitive in sales. I'm competitive. Now, I would never down anyone who just wasn't doing as good as me when it comes down to sales. I would be the type to give them tips and tricks and ways to be able to improve and better themselves if they desire to do so. Because I know if I can help them do better in sales, they would appreciate me more, in a sense. Not only that, I have somebody to compete with. But like I said, in a healthy way. Doing it in a healthy way. But the difference between is these people are predatory. Highly competitive. When it comes down to it, after we're done, I just go home and enjoy myself. The only reason why I'm a little competitive is because I like to live a certain way, and I like to earn larger paychecks. So that way I can do other things. But the difference is these people are willing to humiliate others in order to gain a perceived win. Someone that try to help someone that's not doing as good as them is would not be classed as that or considered that at all. A perceived win. Hmm. So that's the overt type of narcissist. Number two, the covert type of narcissist, sometimes referred to as narcissistic vulnerability. This type of person tends to be passive aggressive, but comes across as very helpless. They come across as helpless. They tend to present themselves as victims, careful, and are quick to cry or stage a crisis to gain attention. They also tend to struggle with anxiety and or depression. I'm going to read that one again. The covert type of narcissist, sometimes referred to as narcissistic, be passive aggressive, but comes across as very helpless. They tend to present themselves as victims and are quick to cry or stage a crisis in order to gain attention. They also tend to struggle with anxiety and or depression. So the key points of a covert type of narcissist is that they are passive aggressive. They come across as very helpless. They tend to present themselves as victims, quick to cry or stage a crisis to gain attention. They also tend to struggle with anxiety and depression. Relate It's related to relationship. Experts says this toxic habit is one of the biggest predictions of divorce. So we see a lot of people getting divorced. We're not going to get into specifics on divorce because this is not what this is about. But we just know that people that are getting divorced is tied to narcissism. And we know that based upon what we talked about, narcissism is a one's love for self. Now, of course, you should love yourself, but it should be a healthy love for self. That doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It does not mean you're better than anyone else. And that's the problem. Let's move on. Number 3, the hyper vigilant type of narcissist. These type of narcissists tend to be highly sensitive to the body language, facial reactions, tone, and reactions of others. They tend to take things personally and by hypersensitive to criticism. Now, people say talk about constructive criticism. Like, I could take constructive criticism. If you're telling me something like, listen, you should do this, and I'll take it in consideration, but then I can come back and tell you why I don't think it's something that I could use or why not. Narcissism, obviously, narcissists can't do that. They can't take constructive criticism. They are prone to feeling shame or humiliation and can be self-effacing. They are likely to direct action towards others and prefer not to be the center of attention. I'm going to read that one again. These type of narcissists tend to be highly sensitive to the body language, facial reactions, tone, and reactions of others. They tend to take things personally and by hypersensitive to criticism. They are prone to feeling shame or humiliation and can be self-effacing. They are likely to direct action towards others and prefer not to be the center of attention. So at least these type, they could be a little bit more uh, uh, underhanded because they looks like, according to this, they tend to not want to be. They tend to be not to want to be the center of attention. So that's the hyper vigilant type of narcissist. Number 4 is the oblivious type of narcissist. While most narcissists are unaware of the feelings of others, unaware of the feelings of others, that means they don't even care about your feelings. They don't care. They're unaware of your feelings. Is known for being completely lacking in awareness and sensitive towards others. Completely lacking in awareness and sensitivity towards others. Wow. They are missing that sensitivity chip. They're just not sensitive at all. They are self absorbed, arrogant, aggressive, and need to be the center of attention. The oblivious type. Sounds like that's a number right there. So, yeah, that's the oblivious type of narcissist. While most narcissists are unaware of the feelings of others, this type of is known for being completely lacking in awareness and sensitivity towards others. They are missing that sensitivity chip. They are self absorbed, arrogant, aggressive, and need to be the center of attention. So look out for those types as well. Also, the 5th type of narcissist, the exhibitionist type of narcissist. The need for the consistent attention is like a bottomless pit. Ooh. For these people, they think they are better than others, physically and intellectually. They look down on others, even their friends and family. That's deep. They are very status conscious and materialistic. They think they are very special and have an enormous need to be admired all the time. That's dangerous right there, huh? Let's read that one again. The exhibitionist type of narcissist. The need for consistent attention is like a bottomless pit for these people. They think they are better than others, physically and intellectually. They look down on others, even their friends and family. They are very status conscious and materialistic. They think they are very special and have an enormous need to be admired all the time. Do you know anybody like that? Do you know anybody who actually is like a consistent bottomless pit? I think I do know some people like that. I know one specifically, but we're not going to get into that right now. They think they're better than others. We all created in the likeness image of the Most High. We're all gods and goddesses on this planet. Nobody's better than the other. The only reason why some people are ahead of others is because they put in that work. They work to get to where they are. They create, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to create. That's the reason why. Nobody's better than anyone, because what that person is doing, that's made amassed a fortune, any one of us can do by applying ourselves. So we clearly know that's not the truth. Not better than us or better than anyone else for that matter, physically or intellectually. Now, there's some people who are more physically fit than others because they work at that. They look down on others, even their friends and family. They look down even on friends and family, this type of narcissist. Incredible. They are very status conscious. These people could be actually in high places, spiritual wickedness in high places, tied in with the scriptures. Are we seeing a correlation here, people? And they're materialistic. They care about material things over people. And they think they are very special and have an enormous need to be admired all the time. That means you're consistently seeking validation from other people. Ooh, that's deep. Are you consistently seeking validation from people? I think you may be a narcissist. Number 6, the sexual type of narcissist. Now, this one was new for me. I didn't know about this one until I studied on this just recently. Now, the sexual narcissist feels entitled to have their sexual needs met. Ooh. Ooh, we know a lot of people like that, right? Men and women, right? Ooh. They have a self-centered view of sex and tend to not be skilled at emotional intimacy. Now, there's levels to sex. It's just physical. It could just be physical, or it could be a mental connection as well as physical. Most people don't seek that mental connection. It's just emotional sex with multiple people. Ooh, actually ties in a lot with my past videos. Sexual narcissists feel entitled to have their sexual needs met. They have a self centered view of sex and tend to not be skilled at emotional intimacy and therefore are not very interested in their partner's needs. It's all about them. Me, 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 me. Gimme, 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 me. Insane. It's supposed to be two to tango. Shouldn't both people get mutual benefit out of the action? I mean, am I crazy? Am I the only one that feels that way? They frequently overestimate their skills in the bedroom. Overestimate their skills in the bedroom. We know some people that do that, but we're not going to get into that. Because they are not very tuned into their partners. These people got multiple partners and just not in tune. They're just detached. There are a lot of people who talk about this, that, Once you have so many partners, you can't pair bond with anyone. It doesn't matter if they're well endowed or not. Well, that kind of does matter, but in a lot of cases for some people. But for the most part, you can't pair bond. Doesn't matter if the person's endowed or not. Because you had too many partners. It's not healthy. Even with men. To the point where you've been with too many people, so you're consistently seeking from multiple different kinds of people on a regular basis to be able to get that feeling met, that need met. It's a sickness. It's not healthy, clearly, with the sexual type of narcissist. And I'm just finding out about this, like I said, recently. I'm appalled. They frequently overestimate their skills in the bedroom because they are not very tuned into their partners. They're not tuned into their partners. There's too many of them. They've had too many partners, so they don't know how to pair bond. Yet they need and expect a lot of praise for their performance in bed. How are you going to expect praise in a bedroom to the point where it's like you put out your energy so much, you're not going to perform at your best by putting out your energy so much to so many different people. You're drained. Men and women, you're just drained. So how are you going to be able to be praised for performance? Most of y'all are probably lousy. Nobody probably ain't going to tell you. But in the back of their mind, they're like, man, he or she was lousy. That was not good. This person is just used up and got no energy. Just lay there like a wet noodle. Or for men, you just go limp. Because you're out there too much. They react poorly to sexual reaction. They expect sex in return for gifts or nice gestures and will pressure, trick, or manipulate you into having sex with them. They feel entitled. You know, a lot of people today are very entitled. To get sex elsewhere if you do not meet their sexual requirements, regardless of your agreement about monogamy. So even if you had an agreement with these people to be monogamous with one another, they still won't follow that. They made an agreement with you to be monogamous, but still can't do it and won't do it because they're the sexual type of narcissist, thinking about themselves only. Forget what you got. I don't care about what you feel. They only care about themselves. They don't care about what others feel or how others supposed to be able to benefit from the activity of sex. It's supposed to be sacred. For one thing, let's keep it real. Sex is supposed to be a sacred activity. It's not supposed to be something you just run around with everybody. Not everybody's supposed to be able to get access to you. No man wants a woman that's been all over the place. A man will appreciate you more when you're exclusive. You have more value when you're exclusive. I don't care what nobody says. You're more valuable by being exclusive. Men and women for that matter. There's just too much stuff out there, too many diseases out there for even men to be running around acting a fool. Because these women are running around acting a fool, then you run around with them, you know, condoms break, you're liable to catch something. Just be careful, y'all. Just be careful dealing with these people. But they don't care about the agreement of monogamy. You made an agreement with them and they turn around and go have sex with somebody else, sleep around with somebody else. No regard for others. And the seventh type of narcissist, and the last, is the malignant type of narcissist. This dangerous type of personality disorder is really a cross between narcissistic personality disorder and what Shreks, what shrinks call antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder. This means that they have no ability to feel empathy. Normal people have empathy. They are what psychologists call a psychopath or a sociopath. These aggressive, hostile, paranoid people are sadistic and dehumanizing to those around them. Many experts believe that Adolf Hitler was a malignant narcissist. This is the most dangerous type of narcissist. And if you think you might be dating one, run for the hills. I repeat, if you think you're dating any of these type of narcissists I just mentioned in the video, run for the hills. Get away from them. They will destroy you if you allow them to. I ran into one narcissist in my lifetime. Never again. Never again. And the only reason why I stuck around is because I have children with her. I try to stick around to the point where I can get myself together to be able to get away from them with the children. But that didn't end up happening. But I had to get out of there. I'll deal with that later. Some children don't deserve the mindset and behavior that these people are. Children don't deserve to go through this. And a lot of children are suffering because of these types of sick people. Run for the hills. These type of persons will hurt you physically, emotionally, and financially. I've experienced that firsthand dealing with these kind of people. Sexually also, and not bat an eyelash or have any remorse for their actions. They don't have no remorse for how they're treating you. Get away from them. They will take you to the grave if they have to, if you don't get away from them. I done had a couple of attempts on my life by these kind of people, but luckily, the Most High got me out of there on time. I started listening to my intuition and got out of there quick. They tried, but they wasn't able to because I was protected. They think you have inconvenienced them for the things they do to others, destroying lives. They think you've inconvenienced them. Psychopaths, let's just go on to psychopaths and sociopaths. Now, psychopaths and sociopaths are often interchangeable in common speech to describe a person who is periodically prone to criminal or violent behavior and who lacks any regard for the feelings or interests of others and feelings of remorse or guilt for his crimes. They have no remorse. None. Psychopaths is calm, cool, callous, calculated, smart person who is able to barrel through in any remorse. They have no remorse, remorseless ways. It's a central nervous system phenomena. So it's something in their central nervous system when it comes down to psychopaths. Sociopaths, the difference between a psychopath, I just went over that. The sociopaths are criminologists argue about this. Many, sorry about that, sociopaths, criminologists argue about this. May be more something created by the environment, someday created by the environment that was beaten up by a father, mother, or caregiver. I'm going to say that again. Criminologists argue about this when it comes down to sociopaths and psychopaths. Maybe more something created by the environment. Somebody that was beaten up by a father, mother, or caregiver, mentally or physically. Someone who grew up in the streets or tremendously deprived or danger or exposed to danger. Now, they also tend to be more combative. You will see more sociopaths in prison than psychopaths. Sociopaths get into a bar fight. Psychopaths would never diminish themselves. They will find a way to slowly destroy that person's life or kill them. No one will never know the difference. So, psychopaths more calculated. Sociopaths a little bit more sloppy. They're sloppy with it. They'll, like I said, they'll get into a street fight, bar fight. Sociopaths are less regulated. Getting into street fights, as I mentioned, tend to be less successful. Psychopaths don't understand the function of rules. Like, I was done wrong in a drug deal. Why can't I kill the other person? That's some sociopaths would say. Like, why can't I kill them? They messed up on the drug deal. I gotta kill them. That's what a sociopath would say. Excuse me. That's what a psychopath would say. A sociopath knows they should not kill other people and still will. Now, when it comes down to psychopaths as well, so for you to know, they can't use the insanity plea. So they, whatever they do, they're gonna have to pay for that. So in short, that is pertaining to psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists, the different types of narcissists that there are out there. And people, I've personally been through this kind of situation with these kind of people I've encountered. And I can tell you one thing, they just don't want to see you doing good in your life. So if you have goals, you have visions for your life, if you see your life going to higher places, um, you want to make sure you keep the right people around you. I've always say that, you should keep people around you who are doing better than you, people that are on your same level, and people that are slightly below you who you know are striving to do better. And they seek your guidance because you're in a better spot than them. Then, of course, people that are on your level who are, you guys can work together and collaborate to move ahead and do better for each other. That's what true friends do. That's what real friendship is. If we're friends and we can't, generate income together and grow together, it's pointless to hang out. I don't care about going to the club and getting drinks in the club. That's useless. That's a waste of time. I'm spending money. Why not own the club and sit in VIP? That's what I'm on. I own the nightclub and I'll sit in VIP with bottles with my friends who own the club who are partnered with me in the nightclub. That's what's up. I'm not with that. Go spend $20, $30 to get in the club. Go spend $100 on an outfit. You know, that's little kitty stuff. That's some stuff you do in high school and college. Once you get in your 30s and 40s, you need to think about owning a club. That's where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that these kind of people will hold you back. Get away from them if you have a plan for your life. See, a lot of people are misguided and directed because they don't know who they are. They don't know their numbers. But we offer numerology reports and astrology reports. We can get you your numbers, find out your numbers, and you can start applying it to your life. It gives you some type of direction of where you should be going in your life, what's better suits your personality trait and who you are. Get yourself a numerology report, people. My email's in the description. Thank you, YouTube. Hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can receive future videos like this. Oh, and definitely, I'm coming out with that part 2. I'm going to go get that. Well, the book's already on its way. I'm going to get that book. Once I get that book, I'm going to dissect that book, and I'm coming out with another video on this. I'm coming out with the part 2 on narcissism, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, and what's the new term that I just recently got? Megalomaniac types of people. So that way we could protect ourselves, protect our children from these kind of people. So that way we can have better lives, better futures. Thank you. This concludes the lesson. Peace, YouTube.